Our super styles for Chapter 6 Season 2 just dropped, so join me today as I rank every season's set of super styles on a tier list ranging from S all the way down to F. So let's kick off the list with our most recent addition from Chapter 6 Season 2. Now maybe it's because these are new, but I'm kinda conflicted on them as a whole. My least favorite is certainly the marbled green, as I'm just not a big fan of green color schemes, and I'm also a little mixed on the crimson. However, I will say the opal styles are phenomenal, and it's definitely worth getting to level 200 for these alone. Overall, I'd say these are just okay, so for now we'll put them into B. Now moving on to our previous season, we have Chapter 6 Season 1. The super style offerings here are Rhyme Flow, Void Burn, and Entropic. The color schemes, effects, and overall vibe on these super styles are all top tier, and I can definitely see myself running them in the future, so without a doubt, I'll put these into S. And next up, we have Remix. Now this was a short season, so we only got one super style, and unfortunately it wasn't for me. The vibe of the super style is certainly in line with the season's theme, but like I said, I'm just not a fan of it, so I'll put it into C. And moving on, we have Chapter 5 Season 4. Now right off the bat, the design and colors aren't the best, but what really throws me off for these super styles are the effect that they have. The flames coming off the character make the styles way too busy, as the flame effect is certainly distracting, and I can appreciate something unique, but I have to be honest with you guys and put these super styles into D. Moving on to Season 3, we have Cold Fusion, Neon Hazard, and Digital Ghost. Now sure, none of these directly tie into the Wastelander vibe of the season, but that doesn't take away from how good these styles are, and for me, they personally land in the A tier. And next up, we have Chapter 5 Season 2. Now these styles definitely don't have much of a middle ground, as it seems that people either love them or hate them, and for me, I'm somewhere in the middle. Stygian isn't my favorite, and I'm not a huge fan of the blue and pink color scheme that we see on Olympian. However, I think Titan Flame is amazing, and it's by far one of the coolest super styles that we've ever received, not only in this season, but throughout every season as a whole. So overall, these styles as a unit weren't the best, and they are definitely carried by Titan Flame, so we'll put them into B. And moving on, we have Chapter 5 Season 1, and regardless how you feel about these super styles, I think we can all agree that at least they're unique. Personally, I absolutely love the Expressionist style, and as for the other two, Prismatic has a nice blue and orange color scheme, and Glasswork is certainly unique. So I definitely don't run these styles that often. I think they're all pretty solid, so I'll put them into A. And next up, we have Season OG. And just like Remix, this season only had one super style for each character, and that style was Timebreaker. Now normally, I feel like the gold choices feel a little bit cheap, but in this case, I actually really like the gold. These skins are all remixes of popular Chapter 1 skins, and the gold color scheme gives off a nostalgic Chapter 1 vibe that I really don't know how to explain. But for now, I'll put these into A. And next up, we have Chapter 4 Season 4. Now getting straight to the point, I'm not a huge fan of these styles at all. This season gave us Heisted Jade, Lost Amethyst, and Yellow Diamond. Now in terms of the colors, I like all the color schemes on the styles, but the patterns on all three are straight up just an eyesore. So if it weren't for the color schemes, I'd have these a bit lower, but for now we'll put them into C. And moving on, we have Chapter 4 Season 3. Now no doubt about it, Wilds was definitely a controversial season, but I won't lie to you guys, they really cooked with the super styles. This season gave us Wild Scorcher, Confetti Claw, and Regal Hunter. What makes these styles even better is that I prefer to use these super styles whenever I use a skin from the Wilds Pass, and that's honestly a pretty rare thing for me to do, so you might not agree, but I'll throw these into S. And next up, we have Chapter 4 Season 2. Now Mega was one of my favorite seasons of all time, but that didn't necessarily translate into the super styles for the season. First, I'll give credit where it's due. All three styles have an awesome cyberpunk/Neo Tokyo vibe, which really helps them stand out. But when it comes to the colors, I'm honestly pretty mixed. So I'll enjoy the overall concept for these styles and one of the color schemes, I can't put these styles any higher than C. If you're enjoying today's video, be sure you smash that sub button, as YouTube is telling me right now that less than 5% of you watching are actually subbed to the channel. Also, be sure to hit that like button and use code Twistychase in the Fortnite item shop with your next purchase. And coming up next, we have Chapter 4 Season 1. Now Epic Games really brought their A game here with these styles, as they're easily some of the best that we've ever seen inside of the game. Elysian is by far my favorite of the bunch, as I love the black and white color scheme paired with the galaxy effect. Eon has a very unique color scheme that I honestly really like, and Halcyon, even though it's gold, still manages to look unique and very clean. But what really makes these styles stand out is how great they look on pretty much every single character in the past, especially the ageless. So with all that said, these super styles easily earn a spot in the S tier. Further down, we have Chapter 3 Season 4. Now these super styles weren't as bad as some of the others on the list, but they definitely didn't hit the mark for me. Out of the three styles, I think Spectral is by far the best. The balance between a bright blue and a pink gives it a really clean look that stands out. Celestial, on the other hand, feels like a darker version of the Spectral, and as for Aurelian, I'm just personally not a fan. But all things considered, I think these styles were just below average, so we'll put them into C. And next up, we have Chapter 3, Season 3. Now, Vibin wasn't exactly my favorite season, and unfortunately, the season gave us some of the worst super styles on the entire list. Now, I'll give credit where it's due. I did enjoy the vine-like patterns that were climbing up the characters' legs, which were clearly inspired by the reality saplings that we saw across the map. But beyond that, that's honestly where the compliments end, so Vibin super styles land firmly in the D tier. Next up, we have Chapter 3, Season 2, and these super styles are pretty solid. Silver Stealth is by far my favorite of the bunch, featuring a sleek and shiny finish combined with the blue accent that really make it come all together. Tempest is another strong style with a nice blend of purple, black, and gold that definitely creates a very unique look. With all that said though, we'll put the super styles from Chapter 3 Season 2 into A. And heading into Chapter 3 Season 1, these super styles were pretty unique as they had a cel-shaded vibe featuring Photo Negative, Scarlet Blackout, and Gilded Reality. I gotta say, I really enjoyed Photo Negative and Scarlet Blackout. You don't often see super styles use really bold colors like teal or a vibrant red, and when paired with the black accents, both of these styles look great. So we'll put these styles into A tier. And rolling into Chapter 2 Season 8, we have super styles that were inspired by the cubes, with Blue Rune, Purple Rune, and Golden. Right off the bat, I love how all these styles weren't random, they were actually tied directly to the cubes, which were a huge part of Fortnite's storyline for a long time, leading up to Chapter 2 Season 8. So with the awesome design and the great color scheme, the super styles for Season 8 go into A. And next up, we have Chapter 2 Season 7. Now these are honestly the most mixed styles for me on the entire list, as they're not bad by any means, but they're also not super exciting or innovative either. I think we're gonna place them into C. And next, we have Chapter 2 Season 6. Now Primal's known as one of the worst Fortnite seasons of all time, and unfortunately, the super styles weren't any better. This season introduced Chromium, Runic, and Golden. And like other Chapter 2 sets, these three styles covered the skin from head to toe in a solid metallic look, which I really don't enjoy. And what also really bugs me about these styles is how similar Chromium and Runic look. The only real difference is a purple glow on Runic, which honestly isn't enough to make it feel unique. So without a doubt, I'm gonna put these into F. And moving on to Chapter 2 Season 5, these super styles had the same issue, as they are all covering the skin from head to toe, and while the color choices themselves weren't terrible, and they are definitely better than the Primal selection, I'm gonna have to put them into C. And moving on, we have Chapter 2 Season 4. Now at the time, this season was a major turning point for Fortnite, as it introduced the modern format of super style, giving us three distinct options: silver, gold, and hollow. Now yes, color-wise they were a bit generic with gold, silver, and metallic, but I think they worked pretty well with every single skin that was in the Battle Pass, and even 4 years later, these styles still hold up as some of my favorites, so we'll put them into S. And next up, we have Chapter 2 Season 2. The way it worked was simple. As you leveled up, each skin would slowly turn more and more gold until you eventually unlock the fully gold agent style. It started with Midas, then Brutus, Meowscles, TNT Tina, Sky, and finally Agent Pilly. Now while it wasn't the most groundbreaking concept, I still think it was really creative, and it really fit the theme of the season. So for those reasons alone, we're gonna put it into A. But that'll do it for today's ranking. Be sure you let me know down in the comments below how you'd rank all of these super styles, and be sure you let me know what season you think had the best super styles overall. But until next time guys, as always, take care and stay twisty.